Folks, welcome back to the Freaky Deaky on yet another quiet morning. Yes, sleepiness. It is a good friend of mine.
Somebody that you used to know?
It is some bunny that I used to know. This week we are diving into Volume 3 of Night Shift Horror Stories, and this is a series that we have not touched in over a year now. And it's kind of a fan favorite when both the other two volumes came out. So I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time. As we inch closer to episode 200, we're going to get into some spooky night stuff. Isn't that fun? And we're going to kick things off with a Night Shift Hatman story and a reminder to never whistle at night. Before we do that, we got to play the spooky ghost intro. So we'll see you on the inside.
You are now entering the realm of the Freaky Deaky, an unsuspecting stop at the crossroads of fantasy and reality, where the frayed edges of make-believe seep into this cookie-cutter white picket world you've been led to believe is far from extraordinary. What you're about to hear are true stories.
Alleged true stories.
Christian, just... okay? Tales of the strange and inexplicable thought only to exist in film and folklore. Although difficult to accept, we do not know everything about this reality, about time or space, what lies beneath the ocean's depths. And try though we might, the unchanging truth remains. There are some things we legitimately cannot explain logically.
Come at me, bro.
In time. Folks, welcome back. Hope you're all having a fantastic whatever the fuck day it is.
You gotta bleep that.
No, I don't. It's fine.
Bleepy bleepy.
Sure. Anyway.
I'm a little delirious this morning.
Well, I think everyone is, man. The morning episodes, they just don't hit the same as the when we're awake episodes, you know?
You're never awake.
Well, when you have as much shit on my plate as I do, pretty much a guarantee that you're never going to know what rest is.
You have a toddler, enough said.
Yeah, that is the icing on the cake for sure. And that's fine. Whatever. This is the life I chose, but you're not here for that.
You should have chosen the thug life. No.
I chose that much younger.
The thug life chooses you.
Not in my case. I chose it. There's very few options, and a life on the streets was not one of them. But that's beside the point. This isn't Scott's therapy hour. This is the Freaky Deaky, where we talk about freaky stuff and deaky stuff, and you can figure out what that second one means. But for the time being, folks, if you're new to the show, we ask one thing of you, and that is that you listen to the episode in its entirety. And if you're a fan of what you hear, you slap a 5-star review on that bad boy. We are trying to get to 200. You know what? Actually, we're trying to get to 1,000 reviews, and we are about 15% of the way there. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some sharing. It's going to take some spreading the good word to your friends and family. So if you know other weirdos that are into this subject matter, be sure to tell them about this show. And if you're a fan of the paranormal, you're a fan of non-sensical soundboards,
Nah, man.
and you're a fan of exclusively dry humor, then you're going to be in for a treat. With all that aside, find us on social media at Freaky Deaky Pod, or send your story into the gang at thefreakydeaky.com to be a part of our freaky listener story episodes that come out whenever they come out. You know what I mean? Let's get into these night shift horror stories, though, shall we? Christian, how are you doing?
I am wonderful. Nah, man.
Okay.
Okay, I'm okay.
He's just okay, and that's fine. We're all just okay. If we really look within ourselves, we can find that we're all just a little bit okay.
Just a little.
Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned in the beginning, we're starting things off with a Hatman and a reminder to never whistle at night. And if you did not check out our Never Whistle at Night episode, it came out before this episode. So just go combing through the episodes and be like, hey, this one says never whistle at night. Bada bing, bada boom, you got it.
If you whistle at night, send us your stories.
If you survive, send in the story.
Right.
That's right. Anyway, so this is called a Night Shift Hatman and a reminder to never whistle at night, and it's by Raxus Doom.
Do you think you could put it like a recording of whistling out in the middle of the night and it'd track weird thing?
You just put a camera and a little boombox that plays whistling and just watches every cryptid of the night comes out. Yeah, I think that would work. Someone try it. And send in the footage. Until then, get into the story.
Cryptid wave. Rave. Cryptid rave. I can't say that. Never mind.
Wow.
Moving on.
Well, I think he was trying to say a cryptid rave, but
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
we did it. Anyway, so yeah, this is by Raxus Doom, and it goes like...
Eat.
Okay. I worked night shift at a hotel. I also had a day job, and the manager was cool and said I could sleep as long as I woke up if someone needed something. That is a cool manager.
Mm-hmm.
One night, I woke up and saw a guy. Well, more of a silhouette of a guy, staring at me through the windows of the Dutch door to the courtyard. He was really tall, maybe 6.5 feet, and had a black duster or trench coat and hat. I jumped up from the couch, put down the remote I had fallen asleep with in my hand, and rushed to the door to see what he needed. He was gone, and no sign of him anywhere in the courtyard, and there were only 2 long, straight paths. He couldn't even have run that fast. I forget about it and continue my night. Fast forward about 3 weeks, and my coworker is telling me about an evil spirit that lives in one of the rooms. All the employees knew there were at least 4 haunted rooms there, as well as the elevator. He started describing a tall, shadowy guy. I cut him off and say, like 6 or 7 feet, black coat and hat. He turns white and stares at me. "You've seen it too?" I tell him what happened, and that innocent incident that night all of a sudden got super creepy. Another time, at another job, I was getting ready to do security rounds, roughly around 3:15 a.m. I am whistling the Arthur movie theme song.
How old is this guy?
I know, right? It had just played on the radio. It was dead quiet except just crickets. As I open the door to the patrol car, still whistling, I hear a whistle off in the bushes on a 60-foot cliff. It's the same tune, in the same type of whistle I have. I don't whistle normal. It's like a windier, not sharp kind of whistle, and much quieter. Same exact song, same exact type of whistle. I immediately stop. The whistling keeps going. I get into the car and book it. Take about 20 minutes longer than I normally do to get back, and I'm super careful and nervous and paranoid when I do get back. Never saw anyone or anything, never heard it again. But on that note, sometimes if I fell asleep at the job, I'd wake up to the sound of my old boss shouting my name. He used to come in about the same time that I would hear the sound and wake up. That happened pretty regularly. The weird thing is that he had been dead for 3 years when it started. Man, that's spooky with the whistling, but you know what? Not for me. Imagine it's just some homeless guy in the bushes like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I love Arthur," and just whistling along. Guy peels out of the parking lot. "What happened? I thought we were going to be buddies."
This reminds me of the 80s before I did all that cocaine and lost everything.
I can't even think of what the Arthur theme song was.
Me neither, but I remember it was really popular.
Was it? Yeah, I'm like, I know I watched that shit. I know I watched it, damn it. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
What was that, Dudley Moore? I don't remember.
Dudley Do-Right?
No, I think the actor's name was Dudley Moore. I could be wrong, though. It was a long time ago.
Are we talking about the same Arthur?
What Arthur are you talking about?
I forget what animal he's supposed to be.
It's not, I don't think it's that
not the cartoon Arthur? Is it the cartoon? Because that's the only Arthur that I'm aware of.
Have you ever heard that song on the radio?
I don't listen to the radio, but I also can't imagine that the Arthur cartoon song would be playing on the radio.
Yeah. Arthur was like an old movie about, I think it was about a drunk guy named Arthur.
Oh, so vastly different than the children's cartoon.
I can't even spell Arthur.
Wow. It's going to be a capital Q.
That's not correct.
Carther.
See, a movie sold, can't even get it to come up.
Wow. Yeah. Weird choice for whistling, but also extremely weird that you would hear it coming back from you off a 60-foot cliff from the bushes, you know?
I have a good joke to play on. If you have a friend that whistles a lot and you take him camping, you just take a portable speaker, put it off in the bushes, and when he starts whistling,
hit play.
Yeah, and make
or
it
just record him whistling at first,
and then make it whistle back.
There you go.
But tell him the story, like yell at him, don't whistle.
Yeah, be like, "Stop whistling, dude. You're gonna get us killed." He's like, "Yeah, right. Here we go."
Throw in a couple tree knocks.
Yeah, why not? You know, let's get weird with it.
A baby crying.
Pretty much everything.
And then write us the story so we can laugh at it.
Oh, I thought this was going to be you doing it.
I would do that if
you had friends and camping.
If I had the opportunity. And I don't camp that often.
Yeah, something about being eaten alive by mosquitoes out here just really doesn't sell it for me, you know? There's just something about it.
I'm more worried about the Sasquatch.
I'm more worried about the bears, but that's
me
fine.
too.
That's why we have a spooky ghost podcast.
That's what I'm not really worried about the Sasquatch, but the bears, yeah. The bears.
Wow.
Going back to the time of the movie Arthur.
Well, there you go.
I think I worked at Blockbuster Video when that movie came out.
Well, you are aging yourself, so that's on you.
Yep.
Everyone that thought you were youthful and vibrant has now had their reality shattered.
I am not youthful, but I'm vibrant.
That remains to be seen, but that's beside the point. We'll get right into this next story. which is called Death Rattle in the Hospital. And it's by Kieran G. It says, I'm a dedicated night shift nurse. Several years ago, the unit that I worked on was kind of off on its own. The oldest part of a 100-year-old hospital. During some basic repairs, they found some mold and, according to rumors, asbestos in the walls. Wow, it's for repairs. They kept the nurses on wherever they could, with the result that we were occasionally really bored thanks to acting as clerks or doing random odd jobs. A coworker friend of mine at the time was really into ghost hunting, to the point of buying a decent quality ghost hunting kit. That's a lot of money.
Do they store it next to the vampire hunting kit?
Only if they're organized, really. Only if they're organized. Says, thanks to not exactly being needed, we had ample time to wander the spookier corners of the hospital overnight. We didn't find a whole lot, just the occasional EMF spike, or whatever, that could be easily explained. After a couple of weeks, they took down the strict construction isolation stuff for our unit, and we decided to check out some of our supposedly haunted rooms. The place was eerie as fuck. They had all the utilities shut off. Remember, it was separate from the rest of the hospital, and it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. So we sat around dropping pins. No, we went into one of the rooms where a lot of deaths had occurred, thanks to being close to the nurse's station, where we could put more critical patients. We set up a voice recorder, thermometer, and an EMF detector. Then we started to ask, quote, any present spirits type questions. Standard stuff like if they had died in the room, etc. Within a few minutes of us asking random questions, the temperature dropped a couple of degrees, then the EMF monitor started going off in short little bursts. Right as I asked the question, are you angry you died here? The EMF squealed like a stuck pig, and we decided to get the hell out of there. The next morning, we went to my place to play the audio recording through my computer. Everything was on it, our questions and the EMF noises. Right as I asked my last question of the night, there was this sound that coincided with the EMF burst we heard in the room. It was this low, drawn-out moaning sound that sounded like an enhanced version of a death moan or rattle. It made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, along with the worst case of goosebump ever. I like how it's just the singular. Worst case of goosebump.
That was a big goosebump.
Yeah, there was one gigantic goosebump on my arm. I've seen a lot of weird shit in my time as a nurse. I'm also a firm skeptic, and I love peer-reviewed evidence.
I like that kind of person.
Gross. Anyway, but I can't quite believe that recording noise and temperature drop EMF readings were something normal that happened in an isolated unit of the hospital with all the utilities shut off. Like many other paranormal events, I can't provide proof. The recording was lost in 2014 when my laptop was stolen. Yes, of course, thievery. That happens. That happens out there, you know? People are kind of assholes, turns out.
Well, the ghost deniers have to reach out and get the evidence.
That's right. They're like, no, we can't believe.
Yeah.
Find that laptop, damn it.
So when the NSA does a scan of everybody's laptops remotely, and they find that, they send out the men in white.
The men in white.
To take your laptop and any other evidence you may have. I don't know if they're men in white, but...
Well, of course not, Christian.
They're men.
Well, we don't know that either. They might be women, Christian. Let's not be sexist, huh? I know it's your favorite, but...
Have you ever heard of a woman in black?
Yeah.
As pertaining to aliens and stuff?
I've heard of a woman in black.
Yeah, a nice black dinner dress.
Sure, why not? Let's paint the scene, really. What kind of restaurant? Fine dining?
Could be a black nightie after the restaurant. We'll leave it there, though.
A black nightie after the restaurant?
Yeah, we're not that kind of a Freaky Deaky podcast.
Yeah, it kind of kills the sexy vibe when you call it a nightie, though. You know,
did it on purpose. I don't want to
look at that black nightie.
I don't want to get too risque.
So,
it's actually a onesie with the little feet on
with
them.
a butt flap, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, why not? What do you think and I ask this not just to you, but to the entire audience, because we have some very sharp people, especially in our YouTube comments, that provide really great possibilities. I don't know if you've combed through any of those, but there's some really smart folks out there that are like, actually, I think it could be this.
I have recently, and I'm still amazed by the kindness of the commenters, which is still weird to me.
Still waiting for the haters to be rolling through.
Yeah, I mean, we get them every once in a while, but not.
It's mainly on shorts. It's like exclusively on YouTube shorts. People are like, you guys are fucking morons. And we just comment, thank you. We're so glad you enjoyed.
We should do that.
Like, yeah, tell your friends. Tell your friends about the morons. Talk about spooky ghost stories and whatnot. Yeah, so I asked this, what do you think and I'm sure maybe it's been explained in other places and stuff, but I honestly do not look into other like paranormal there's like one or two that I listen to when I have time. I don't watch ghost hunting shows or any of that crap because it's for the most part just really bogus. But what do you think the deal is with the temperature drops? Is it an energy thing? Is it like in order to manifest, these things have to suck up all the warm energy in the room? The warm energy, wow, really professionally said. Great job.
You make it sound like it's demons walking in, and we don't know that. It's just ghost.
No, I'm not saying it's demonic at all. Actually, what I'm saying is that in a lot of these ghost stories, people get cold. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, suddenly it got really cold in the room, and then we saw the spirits.
The one thing I could say maybe in this case is they mentioned the utilities were off. That could have something to do with it in a building that's normally the climate's controlled. That could happen with the temperature drop. I mean, it would depend on how quick it dropped.
Yeah, well, they make it sound like it was fairly quick, or it was like out of place.
Right.
You know, because the temperature would probably stay the same. And even with the utilities off, if it's been off for a while, you'd think, oh, that's just how cold it is outside or whatever. But if it drops, fairly quickly, then you're like, oh, it's a little colder in here now.
I don't know. Did they say they heard anything like a voice on the recording? Can't remember all of it.
No, later when she got the computer home, she heard that like low moaning death rattle kind of sound.
Okay.
But it correlated with the sound that she heard, the EMF spike or whatever, when they were in the room. So I don't think they heard that when they were there. It was only when they got it to the computer afterwards which is very interesting. Death rattles are creepy.
I've never heard one, and I hope not to.
I know. Yeah, it feels like something that would stick with you, you know?
I only want to hear it once, and that's on my way out.
And then just your final words. Oh, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Psych. Let's dive on in to this next one, which is called Every Culture Felt It. And it's by DJ Do Good.
That almost sounds like Dudley Do Right.
You really do be like that, yeah. My first overnight job was as a train dispatcher in Vermont. The center was in a train station that was about 100 years old. Now, maybe being only day 6 on the extra board made me quiet, but I saw a person standing in front of the restrooms at like 4 a.m. White guy in his 40s, dressed semi-formal. Many coworkers would find items like that.
Wait, I thought it was a guy.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, you can't even give him personhood at this point. He's just an item. Wow. My second instance was when I worked overnights at a mental health crisis house. It's a home-like setting, a step below inpatient for mental health issues. It also provided a place for people at risk of relapsing to stay to have support. Anyway, there was one room in the place people would get, quote, weird vibes about. I would do a room check and get the feeling I was being watched each time. Other night staff reported stomping upstairs, hearing voices, and sudden temperature changes in the main room. Hey, we're back with temperature changes. The room also had the highest rates of self-harm and, quote, bump-ups, sending clients to inpatient or calling police if violent. I tried to sage and salt the room at one time, even did the bang on pots asking it to leave. Is that a thing? You're supposed to like clang on some pots in a room that's haunted and be like, get out of here, ghost. And the ghost can be like, I'm so annoyed by this. I'll see you later.
I guess so. They're like, these kids these days, they're rap music and pots.
Wow. Rap music and pots. Put that on a shirt.
Or you can take out the S on pots.
And it'll still work.
Yep.
Yeah. It started to do more stomping when I was there. There were times there would be no clients in the house, so I could sleep on the couch in between calls. I started to have a lot more lucid dreams and sleep paralysis after trying to get rid of it. What I found interesting is how many different cultures would come in and out of the house, and if someone was, quote, spiritually connected, they would pick up on the vibe something is up with that room. We had Kabbalah. Is it Kabbalah? Kabbalah?
Depends on
Kabbalah. I don't know. Who knows?
How douchey you want to sound.
Ooh, opportunity accepted. No. I think Kabbalah, maybe? I'm probably saying that wrong. Santeria, New Age, Catholic, you name it.
Kushtaka.
Okay. They all picked up that something was weird about the place.
Yeah, people died.
That is weird about the place, yeah.
People freaked out. And you're in a place where people are having issues, mental issues, whatever they are, and maybe there's heightened emotions, heightened anxiety.
Or maybe there's a spirit afoot.
A bunch of adrenochrome. Who knows?
Wow. Getting really weird with it.
Demons exist.
Yeah. Let's layer on top of that, Yeah, it's kind of weird. Again, another incident of like temperature fluctuations and stuff like that.
Do you ever feel temperature fluctuations?
Yeah, but it's always in places that are drafty.
I feel them too, but I think my body temperature sits like just barely above a place where I'm warm, and it doesn't take much to make me feel chilly.
A slight breeze, and you're like, ooh, what just happened? What passed through me? Yeah. I mean, this house alone, I could feel 50 different drafts in any room of the house. I'm like, I've never once been like, ghosts? I was just like, damn, this place is old. What the hell? I need more money, damn it. I need a nice modern house. I need to stop living on the streets like I mentioned earlier. But it's fine. Yep. It is kind of interesting that every culture that came through felt the same thing, the same way about that room.
Yeah.
It's not even just like the house itself, like, ooh, it's kind of spooky here, but it's like specifically this room is where things are going a little freaky deaky, if you will.
I find it fascinating that the person knew that somebody was in Kabbalah, because I'm like,
what is that?
It's like a part of Judaism.
So I probably said it wrong then.
No, I've heard it said that way.
I've heard it said, who cares? If you guys are coming here for us to pronounce things properly, then you have definitely come to the wrong place.
That's why I throw in that certain Alaskan cryptid every time.
Yeah, he's just trying to rile everyone up. A classic Christian doing his classic riling.
That's what I'm here for. Come at me, bro.
And they will. And they do.
Mommy.
Exactly.
If mommy came at me, we'd have a story. Demons exist. Hey, that's not cool, man. My mom passed away. If she's a demon, I don't want to know about it.
That is probably for the best, yeah. I wonder if we have any listeners in the audience that work odd night jobs that have some creepy experiences of their own. Have you ever worked a night shift and came home with a little more than you bargained for? Comment below or send in your stories. Again, we'll probably do another night shift horror story. I don't know when it took a year to get the third one out, but at some point in time.
I think I've told all my night shift stories.
I think you have as well.
There was that one prostitute, though, that robbed a guy at the hotel I worked at, and he was all upset. And later we find out that it was a woman of the night.
So was it being robbed or was it paying for the services? That's the question.
That is the question.
Yeah, you wish you had me around there. I would have brought this question up.
I just remember it was kind of hilarious because he was trying to avoid the fact or explaining exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
And the cops eventually got out.
Like, what did this woman look like? Well, she had fishnet stockings and high heels.
I only saw her from like the chest up when she leaned in the car window.
Wow.
Sierra Highway.
Who could it be? Sierra Highway, indeed. Yeah. That would check out. That would check out for sure. This next one is called A Historic Haunting.
Ooh, I like those.
And it's by Smoke Hides Stars. Wow, some of these usernames, I tell you what, they're just kind of like very obvious phrases.
Like, what are these? They're like, I need to make a Reddit account.
Toast tastes good.
Looking around the room probably depends on the level of highness, too.
That can be a thing.
Or if they're old school, youth's drunkenness.
Youth's drunkenness?
Yeah, like that's so out of fashion, getting drunk.
Wow. You tell them, Christian. Stay tuned after the episode for Christian's TED Talk on the DARE program.
Don't do it.
Unless you want to fall asleep very quickly. Anyway, says, so I used to live on site at an 18th century historic home and museum previously owned by a founding father.
Thomas Jefferson.
Okay. There were 3 or 4 of us that had houses on property, and the rule was someone had to be there 24/7, 365 to respond to any issues like securing the property at close, dealing with trespassers, fire, burglar alarms, etc. I have many, many stories about the weird stuff that happened there, but this one is my favorite because it was witnessed by myself and 2 police officers, documented in a police report, and recorded in alarm logs. Got him. We got him with the evidence. Got a call in the middle of the night from the alarm company. Someone had definitely broken into the historic house. They managed to get in without setting off an alarm, but had triggered 4 motion detectors in succession on the 2nd floor. Given the situation, I had them dispatch the police and I met them outside. We didn't see an obvious point of entry, so 2 officers stayed outside in case the burglar tried to run, and I went in with the 2 others. They started clearing rooms from the basement up while I checked the alarm system for any faults. I met back up with them on the 1st floor. They were both standing at the foot of the main staircase, flashlights pointing up to a chair, which was right on the edge of the top stair. The officer asked, "Is that supposed to be there?" I said, "No, it should be in the first room on the left." He replied, "The motion detectors, were they the ones between that room and the chair?" "Uh-huh." And then the second officer said, "Man, I'm not going up there. None of our stuff works on ghosts." Classic second officer.
That's what I would say.
Wow. So the one officer cleared the second floor while I put the chair back, and the other officer stood at the foot of the stairs. After re-alarming the building, we all gathered at one of the patrol cars to write an incident report. We came up with something about a raccoon getting in through the attic. It didn't make any sense, but it was better than, I don't know, ghost moved a chair. The next day, I had to turn the incident report into the museum's director. He read it and was immediately like, "Oh yeah, that wasn't a raccoon. Was it really cold when you got to the top of the stairs?" It was. Man, that's like back-to-back-to-back cold spots.
Yes.
You know?
You think Thomas Jefferson was looking for Sally Hemings? "Sally, get
Man.
that brown boy to make me a sandwich."
Wow. I think your racism is showing, Christian. How dare you?
That's not racism. Thomas Jefferson had a little brown boy from Sally Hemings.
Okay.
And now he
And
has
now-
descendants. I wish they would have said which founding father's place that was.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Weird thing to just move a chair around, you know? This will show them.
Especially at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, that is kind of funny, though. I mean, if you want, like,
What if it was a real racist
he was hoping a black guy would stand on top
No,
of it.
and he was
Oh.
like, "I'm going to end it all, even though I'm dead, because they let all the old slaves come and visit my property."
Wow. I want to go to the second afterlife.
Yeah, the only brown person allowed in my old house was Uncle Tom.
Wow, would you look at that?
Yeah, a little. It's not racist. It's just a funny story.
Yes, of course. Christian Soapbox has made yet another appearance.
I just made up a funny story about a founding father. Give me some credit. Demons exist.
How's that?
Maybe. I want to know which founding father it was. I'm really disappointed. That bothers me.
We'll go down the list, and who do you think it would have been?
Right now, I can only think the only places I know of that probably have you can visit their house would probably be George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, but I'm sure there's more.
There's probably like some random no-name guy that has never made the history books. Like, this is Greg's house.
Yeah.
He was great.
Benjamin Franklin never stayed at his own house because he was off with the ladies all the time.
Getting into all kind of weird stuff, as you do when you look like that, it turns out.
As the line says, getting high with the French.
Hey, there you go. Better than getting French with the high, you know what I mean? It'll come to you.
It will. I feel a chill.
Uh-oh. The Ghostbusters theme starts playing. It's time.
I was watching a show last night talking about ghosts through history and went way back through Samaria and some of the, I can't remember all of them because I fell asleep right afterwards, but it was pretty fascinating.
That would be a fun episode. And I think we've talked about UFOs through history. It would be interesting to get ghost stories from like the way back, you know?
They were a little different, so I'll check it out again. But it was good. It was interesting. It was like the ghosts were a little different back then, but also it could have just been the way people described things back then.
Sure. Why not? You know?
They were much more detailed back in the day. The ghost had one missing buckle on his shoe.
Which means, no, that makes sense, you know? That makes sense. This next one is called Sandwich Shop Specter, and it's by Mythic Aaliyah. On a bleak, stormy night, I was alone in the kitchen, a sandwich shop, when I spotted a customer in the lobby. Never heard him come in. Door is pretty squeaky and closes hard, so it's difficult to miss someone walking in, even without a bell like most businesses have. His back was to me, facing the opposite wall, standing in the middle of the room. I never saw his face, but he seemed to be an older man, maybe 70s. I greeted him with a hello, but he didn't reply. The stillness and the way he stood there, coupled with how he was facing away from me in dim lighting. It had been hot and humid out before the storm, so we had minimal lighting on to try to keep cool. But it gave me a kind of a weird Blair Witch vibe in retrospect. At the time, I waved it off as him looking out the window or something while he decided what he wanted. Plus, I'm used to rude customers, so I wasn't surprised by him ignoring me. I turned away to wash my hands so I'd be ready to throw together a sandwich once he was ready to order. I had my back turned for 20 seconds. Yes, this was during COVID, so I was counting. Good on ya, pal. And when I turned back around, he was gone. Again, I never heard the heavy door open or close. and the only other door he could have left through was close enough to me that I would have absolutely noticed. He never came back, and I don't see why anyone would just come into a sandwich shop for 30 seconds just to stare at the wall opposite the front counter and then leave without a word. Also, now that I think about it, he didn't even look wet, and it was pouring outside. So I'm not really one to believe in ghosts, but silent old man with Blair Witch vibes plus dark and stormy day plus appearing and disappearing without a sound equals I definitely saw a ghost that day. I don't know why. Those are kind of spookier stories, like when they don't even say anything, no interaction whatsoever, just appear, disappear.
Maybe that's the shop that ghost used to go into at lunch and just enjoy a peaceful sandwich.
He's like, this window is where I do my thinking, and the smell of freshly baked bread, well, that's my shit, okay?
Yep. Subway, eat fresh.
I pictured it as a Subway shop.
Me too. That's how they got us.
Not a sponsor.
We've bought into the propaganda.
Wow, we sure did.
You call it a sandwich shop, and we automatically think Subway, even though there's other ones out there.
Way better ones out there.
They're all fine in different ways.
Oh, look at you being equal with your sandwich distributors.
No, I have a particular sandwich or way of having my sandwich made at Subway, and it's pretty good. And
Is it just pepperoni and cheese?
No.
Are you sure?
No, it's got a little bit of a bunch of things.
A little bit of a bunch of things. Wow, look
It's
at
not
you.
like my pizza.
Yeah, your pizza is very bland. It's pepperoni or nothing with this guy over here.
You know, one thing this person said was, now that I think about it, he wasn't even wet. Now that you think about it, is a bad time to figure out he wasn't wet.
Oh, because your memory is never good and it sucks and it's never doing its job right. It always makes things
it's always doing its job right. It's just, it's not perfect.
You're really trying to hammer home this memory bit, man. And everyone already knows that memories aren't perfect.
I don't think we always realized how imperfect or flawed it can be because it kind of would take away from I don't think confidence is the right word. It's just we think we have some kind of control over our lives, and if our memory doesn't function, other than when you get older and you start losing things. But life is we believe that we remember things correctly, even though we don't in most cases, or we leave things out because unless you're one of those people that has a photographic memory, it's pretty hard to remember everything. Your brain also fills in a bunch of places just to make it easier. So I don't know. I don't want to tear apart the story over that one little thing, but that one little thing reminded me.
But you do enjoy tearing apart stories over one minor little detail.
I mean, that doesn't even affect the story.
Exactly.
It's just a weird little...
And that's your bread and butter, not to use terms that could be also used at a Subway shop or sandwich shop. Damn it, they got me.
Yeah. I've never had a Subway with...
Butter?
Yeah.
Is that even maybe they have like the liquid butter that you can... who knows? This isn't an advertisement for Subway, damn it.
That's the poor people's Subway from like the late 1800s.
Wow. You really love talking down to folks, don't you? Does it get any worse than that?
Come at me, bro. Nah, man.
Push to 2, damn it. Push 2. Only wanted to push the 1. Push 2. It's fine. Anywho, this next one called After Hours at the Bar.
Bar ghost story's fun.
That is fun, especially when it's closing time. Closing time. Yeah, you know how it goes.
Unfortunately.
I used to work in a bar that was next door to a funeral director's.
That is awesome.
And horrible placement. Well, actually, if you think about it.
I'd go to that bar.
That's probably the best placement for a bar.
On slow nights, you get the ghost.
Sure, they don't tip well, though. Okie dokie. And we're back. Apparently, ghosts are not fans of me saying they don't tip well, as soon as I said that, they cut off our recording. Classic ghost bullshit, am I right? Yeah, man. Thanks, Christian. I don't know when you turn into a mouse, but I appreciate your response either way. Not only was it next door, it had previously been part of the funeral directors, and the welcome slab outside had the director's name and year carved in it, like Ferguson's 1891, in Scotland, so we were only open until 1 a.m. at the latest. There were a few different events, nothing uber scary. Christian's favorite. But the whole vibe of the place when you were on your own was so unsettling. Nighttime routine would mean one staff member would be downstairs counting tills, and the other would be in the venue cleaning everything. I remember one night I was polishing the bar taps, and I saw someone standing behind me in the reflection. I spun around so quickly to no one being there and messaged my coworker to come upstairs. She called out for me from the bottom of the stairs before she'd even got my message, and when we reunited, she said she'd heard me coming up and down the stairs multiple times. The weirdest part is she was counting cash 2 levels down from me, and I hadn't been down 1 set of stairs at all, never mind 2. This place also had 2 sets of stairs that led nowhere, and in our wine cellar we had a massive old iron door that had a wheel to open it. I'm not sure what it was, but the wine racks were over it anyway, preventing you from trying to open it. In the girls' toilets, there was a bit that looks like it'd be a window, but was boarded up and below street level. It was just a board over a sharp 13-foot drop in some weird underground alleyway thing. One night after locking up, we stayed behind for a couple drinks, and one of my coworkers was dared to jump down. She did, was fine, and we were all laughing. She went so quiet all of a sudden and started freaking out, asking us to help get her out. When we did, she was just quiet and went home. And a few days later, eventually said she felt someone touching her arm. Not a gentle brush, but like someone had put their palm on her forearm and wrapped their hand round it. No thanks on that. No thanks on the darkness, creepy ghost hand grabbing me while I fall down a trench of some kind.
I mean, obviously, since they're in a bar,
ghosts are real.
Yes, and this was actually the ghost of a patron that happened to be a guy.
Old Touchy McGee. Yeah,
right.
Very popular.
Did you call him Touchy McGee because it's Scotland? Is McGee a Scottish name?
Do I look Scottish to you? Haha, that's a trick question, because in some forms, yes, I do look very Scottish, but that's by name only.
It's okay. You know, there's another Scott Walker in town.
There's about 1 million Scott Walkers. One was a governor in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. In Vegas, I saw so many bumper stickers that said, "I stand with Scott Walker." And I was like, fuck yeah, you do. Spooky.
I like bar stuff. They're always haunted.
Yeah, they do, especially in the UK, there's a lot of haunted bars. I'm not too familiar of very many out here or in the United States. I know there's probably a handful of them.
Isn't there that one in, is it Skagway here in Alaska? I think there's one somewhere else too, maybe Homer.
Homer, yeah, that one I think is, because we went there and I want to say there was something about ghosts or something, but at the time I wasn't too fascinated by it. I was like, yeah, sure, there's ghosts, but right now there's 1 million people inside this tiny bar, and Daddy's thirsty, you know? Daddy's thirsty. That's what I said to the bartender right before they kicked me out. Good times. So what do you think grabbed this woman's arm?
Her demons exist. Her imagination.
Wow, you would.
No, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I mean, you've had experience with something grabbing you that wasn't
touching me. And it was probably nothing. It was probably just a weird feeling in my muscles. But it did feel like somebody touched me.
Yeah, I too have experienced that. It's always made me wonder.
Now I hang my butt off the bed all the time, see if it'll happen again.
Come get it. Come get it. Dinner's served. Wow, weird thing to say to a ghost.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How come you don't smack it?
Yeah, get in there, ghost. Come on. You know you want to. Been eyeing me all week, you pervert.
I don't know if it was eyeing me, but I felt watched.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, you like that?
Got to use the right terminology here. Ghosts don't have eyes.
Wow. What do you think they see with?
Not eyes.
Ghost eyes. Christian, we're not going down this again. It's ghost eyes.
I think the eyes are there for our benefit so we can not freak out.
We don't lose our mind.
Yeah. Nah, man.
Get some eyes, man. Classic stuff. Anyway, this next one's called Attic Exit. And it's by Bell Farm Girl 17. It's another law enforcement story. Yippee. Says, I'm in law enforcement. Hey, Bell Farm Girl, I already mentioned that. Me and my partner got sent to a call for an alarm activation. No big deal, but this is not one of our usual alarms. It's a new one we've never been to before. It takes us longer than normal to find the house because it's way back off the road and no lights are on. We finally find the place and it's super creepy. Spiders and webs everywhere. Yep, it's a no from me, just on that tiny detail. Nothing outside the house like a trash can or knickknacks.
No paddywhacks?
No, there was a couple of those. We split up, per the usual, to check the outside for open doors or windows. I go one way, he goes the other. The house is 2 stories. I get this sort of garage, carport looking thing along with a locked shop of some sort on the first floor. Nothing weird seen or heard. Partner is still making his way around to me from where we started. I find the stairs to the second floor and head up. I wind up on a giant covered porch attached to the house, and it's huge, literally the size of the carport below, with about 4 sets of wicker outdoor furniture. Damn, ballers. I'm looking around, don't see anything super weird. Partner finally gets to me upstairs, and we talk about the weird layout for a minute.
Wait, how'd they get upstairs?
I think it's outdoor.
Okay.
But I don't know. I forget everything I read within 20 seconds of reading it. I'm literally just like an audible
automaton
teleprompter at this point.
You a fembot?
Sure. Okay, yeah, partner finally gets to me upstairs when we talk about the weird layout for a minute. During this time, I feel slightly unsettled, but I'm unsure why. I start looking a little closer through the sliding glass doors at the front of the house. Partner tells me everything is locked up from his side, and there's even vines growing over some windows and doors. I start noticing little things in the living room. The carpet looks like it's from 1962. That's a very, very direct year.
Must have been shag.
This is exclusively 1962.
It was brown shag carpet.
Oh, yeah. And there's probably a lot of... Never mind, I'm not going to say that, Scott. Keep it to yourself.
Was this... Well, it was back in the day. People groomed differently.
Wow. Okay. Somehow nicer than what I was going to say. Mine was going to come off incredibly racist.
Oh, okay.
As is tradition, turns out, on this show. No TV, no electronics in general, very 60s layout. I thought all of that was weird, but I've seen weirder on this job. I then asked dispatch what the alarm activation was. I get told attic exit. Super weird and very specific, but okay. We start looking around best we can in the living room. There's no attic.
Okay, so these don't sound like regular cops.
Regular cops don't look around?
I mean, how do they get in the house?
Maybe it's abandoned. Didn't they say it looked like abandoned? It looked kind of...
But it has an alarm system.
That is weird, right? Yeah. Someone else make sense of that and comment below. We're far too stupid to figure this out. And by we, I mean only Christian. Then it occurs to me, what if it's outside in this giant covered porch? I look up. Sure enough, directly above me is an attic. I can even see the alarm sensor boxes on it. I look at my partner and tell him I'm not going up. He suggests we rock, paper, scissors for it. I'm an idiot and agree. I lose. So I'm going up in the attic. So anyway, I'm going up in the attic that I said I wasn't going to go up. At this point, we've made jokes about how weird all of this is. I'm slightly unsettled, but haven't said anything. And I've literally never seen an attic outside that has alarms. Also, who leaves their house looking like the 60s? I reluctantly pull my gun out and start climbing the ladder. I should mention, I'm chubby. Thanks for that.
Should have won rock, paper, scissors.
I know, I guess you should have tried harder. Anyway, attics and ladders aren't my friends. Stick my head up just far enough to see there are no people and not a lot of stuff up there, and it smells really weird. It smells like old people have been living up there for 20 years. Like dead old people. Not actually dead body, thankfully.
Just dead people.
Yeah, it just smells like dead people, that's all, which is somewhat worse.
This is a very confusing story at points.
Yes, of course, confusion. But like the smell of old people has died up there. So it smells like dead old people, but it smells like the smell of dead old people is dying.
And the smell is sentient.
Ah, yes, that makes sense.
Does not make sense.
I quickly come back down with nothing but the weird smell to report. I shrug it off as we go to leave. Partner pulls up next to me, jokingly saying, "We're looking at this all wrong. We weren't looking for someone getting into the attic. We should have been looking for something getting out." We both laugh it off as weird call, weird job, and drive off. As we drive back to our hiding spots a mile or so away, me in front of him in separate cars, I see what looks like a person standing in the roadway out of the corner of my eye. It looked like a black female wearing dark clothes, holding a light-colored bag, though I only saw the person for a split second.
Oh, it's time to roll up.
There you go.
Black person.
Wow. Christian, you've gotten so much shit for talking about cops.
I know, that's why I said it.
That it's so... It's uncomfortable because I'm the one that has to read the comments.
What was so funny about that one comment? It was like...
No, there was like two people that commented on you saying that. They're like, what, so Christian thinks that just being black or homeless is a crime? And I'm like, Christian is black and homeless, guys.
I have a home.
He's allowed to say these things.
It's in the rule book.
Yeah. And for anyone that isn't aware, Christian's black, right?
I have black in me.
I'm not talking about your hobbies on the weekends. Like what what is your ethnicity? Okay. That's whatever.
That might be one of the funniest things you've ever said.
There you go. Beautiful. Anyway, moving right along. For anyone that wants to comment on Christian talking about cops, Christian doesn't believe that all cops are bad, nor does he believe that all cops are good. Okay.
I believe cops are humans.
He believes cops are humans. That's where it ends. Okay. Anyway.
Moving on.
the black person in the road with a light-colored bag.
Being profiled.
Classic. Though I only saw the person for a split second, I'm not 100% sure of what I saw, so I wait and see if partner says anything about it. A few seconds after I pass whatever I saw, partner calls out over the radio that he and I are getting out with a person in the roadway at given intersection. I turn around with him. This all happens within probably seconds. We turn around and can't find the person. Person vanished completely. We described the person to each other and we both definitely saw it and saw the same thing. No idea where the person or thing went. It was less than a half mile from the creepy house. So we're pretty sure that we're both haunted now thanks to work.
What?
I think that's kind of jokey. We've had one more instance of weird unexplained happenings at work. We attribute it to our ghost. So that's the story of how I became haunted and ran into a ghost that I accidentally released. So they're saying that what they believe is that something got out of the attic and it was this woman they found on the road and she was a ghost. A lot of pieces to connect on that, but it feels more like jokey than it does like we actually seriously believe this. Creepy all the same though. Nobody likes the smell of dead old people. The dead smell of dead old people. Wow. Can't even make sense of it in my mind.
It all made sense before you tried to explain it.
Classic me, as is tradition around these parts. I don't know. What do you think about that?
They're haunted because they let a trapped black lady out of an attic. How long has that black lady been in that attic? Since the 1800s?
I mean, there's really no way to tell, you know?
Right. She did have a light-colored bag, so maybe it wasn't
she
the 1800s.
seems like she's doing great for herself.
Doing okay.
Considering, yeah.
Considering she was trapped in an old person's house
that smelled like dead, smell of old. You know what?
Had spiders and spider webs and wicker chairs.
Yeah, those three things tend to be connected at all times. Good luck finding a wicker chair that does not have spiders and spider webs on it, okay? We'll probably close it out with this last one. It's just what you do with last ones is you use it to close out. Scott, on a roll.
I am allergic.
You're just now saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
No matter what.
I know. I'm just going to start telling you to get here 15 minutes before I need you here. I'll be like, yeah, show up at 6:15.
I figured you guys were already doing that.
Which is why you show up later.
I was like, why are you? I thought you guys were smarter than that.
Yeah, I tell your daughter to text you that you need her or that she needs you here a half hour before she actually needs you here. I don't know if she does that, but for me, most of the time, if it's 15 minutes, it's like, whatever. I don't give a shit, but sometimes.
Time doesn't work for me.
Wow.
I'll look at the clock and then I'll look at it again a minute later and it's like 20 minutes later. I'm like,
have you considered maybe not sitting around stoned out of your mind all the time?
I'm not.
Sure, Christian. You know you wake and bake.
No, I don't.
That's the worst thing you could ever do. I honestly cannot. I think I did it one time in my life. I'm like, never again.
It's okay on vacation.
But even then, I don't know. Comment below, dude. Where do you stand on waking and baking?
I stand right next to my nap that I have to take later on.
Yeah. I stand next to a chair, preferably, but that's fine.
A wicker chair with spider webs and a black lady in the attic.
You know what drives me insane? Getting 500 email notifications when it's like 1 minute past the hour. Everyone schedules it for like 8:01. It's like, hey, do you need more drinks, friends? Have you bought this solo stove? Hey, do you want a wicker chair? You're like, no, I don't want any of these things.
The world is ending. Buy gold.
There you go. Buy Bitcoin. Anyway, this next one and final story of the episode is called Night Snow Removal at the Old Barracks. And it's by Homeless Alex. Classic Homeless Alex. How'd you write this down, man?
The library.
They got USB cords out there in the streets?
Well, Homeless Alex is probably calling himself homeless because he's in the military.
Okay.
So he just goes wherever they tell him.
Sure.
And plows the snow.
Alrighty. Anyway, it says, I did night snow removal this past winter, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Consistently, we were sent to this old rundown army barracks armory within the city that was turned into a historical site. Showed up there one night around 2:15 a.m., and the guy I was working with was immediately uneasy upon us arriving. I figured we'd clean off the stairs and walk quickly around and come back to polish up later when it was less spooky feeling. About 5 minutes into blowing the snow off with backpack blowers, we both heard this horrible screech come from somewhere which seemed to be below us in the ground. So we packed up and said fuck that and left. Came back with our CL around 3:30 a.m. after telling him what happened, and we rolled up to hundreds of ripped fabrics and twigs tied into intricate knots and designs hung around the entire building. From windows, doors, lights, and trees. Hell, even shit hanging from the roof, all within the hour that we were gone. Also noticed that one of the doors on the building was off the hinges, just laying in the doorway to give the appearance of being closed. Didn't stay to solve that mystery. Fuck that. Was some Blair Witch looking stuff that I was not getting paid enough to dive into.
I was going to go with Carcosa.
Yeah, see, I was thinking that. I'm like, that's like some True Detective shit right there, man.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be creepy to come across? Just 1 hour after you're like, oh, let's go get our boss. Bring him down. You're like, oh, cool. Witchcraft and sorcery is afoot.
Where's the body?
Time is being a flat circle in these parts, apparently.
Yeah.
Your favorite.
It is. It's a classic.
It is.
It's funny, though. I did think of True Detective.
Mm-hmm. Just little stick figures or whatever.
Yeah. Little stick
creepy
figures.
Stuff going out there in the night.
Yeah. Cosmic horror.
Cosmic horrors. Yeah, that too. Yep, that as well.
That's really what aliens are.
Yeah, that checks out to some extent, you know?
Especially the ones that do those little experiments on the men and women.
Hell yeah.
Cosmic horrors.
Hell yeah. Preaching it like it finally is, Christian.
Now I don't even remember what I originally used that term for that sounded like.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's popping.
Well, that's all I got. See ya. Now, what do you think, Christian? Time to get another night shift job, huh? Bring in some of these spooky stories.
No.
I want to hear everyone else's stories. Folks, if you're out there and you work weird night shift hours or you have some interesting things happen or bumps in the night that you can't really explain, send them in. We want to hear all about them.
I bet you there's some good night shift stories from old Alaska, like 70s Alaska, 70s.
I think especially in Alaska, there'd probably be some stories when the sun doesn't come up. You know, those are like 24-hour a day night shift stories.
True.
Be really interesting to get some of those. I don't know where to even look for that, though, to be honest with you.
Well, we're putting it out there. We have Alaska listeners.
Yeah, we got about 8 people from Alaska tuning into the show.
I think it's more.
You think it's more, but the statistics are, well, they don't lie, Christian.
I think they're not always accurate.
Unlike you, these statistics, they don't make a living on lying to people.
Have you seen my hips, though?
I have.
They don't lie.
They do lie. I asked them questions. The ghost that touched your buttocks asked them questions. All it did was fart. What a time to be alive. Yeah, I should mention, we're also going to be doing we'll throw some of the other bonus night shift horror stories up on YouTube. So if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, now would be a fantastic time to do that. We are on and popping. Seems like we've got a good schedule going for the time being. Things are rolling pretty smoothly. We're getting some kind of video out there with the episode every week between Sleep with the Lights On, which comes out every other Friday, or the bonus stories, which come out the Fridays in between Sleep with the Lights On. If you, for whatever reason, like what you're hearing and you want to see a couple of ugly mugs talk about it instead of just hearing it penetrate your ear holes, this is your opportunity to make that happen. You know?
Do it.
Do it right now. I forgot who it was. Someone said that we sound sexy. And I was like, oh, well, make sure you don't stumble across those videos because I don't want your heart to break, you know?
Whatever, man. I'm sexy.
Wow.
And I know it.
Wow. Well, you might be the only one that does know it, Christian, and that's fine. The rest of us are realists and we live out here in the real world and we can acknowledge when we're ugly as fuck. You know? The whole faces for radio bit. And that's fine.
People are always asking me if they could have cake by the ocean. I don't even know what that means.
If they can have cake by the ocean?
I've dropped a bunch of song references into this episode. I'm sorry. Oh, going back to the beginning when we were talking about the movie Arthur.
Wow.
The movie was older than I thought it was. 1981.
Wow. So you're just what, like 65 or something?
No, I was 10.
You're 10.
My mom used to like that actor, so that's the only reason I know about that show. But I thought it was later 80s, but maybe that was a sequel.
Wow. Getting all the hits. Yep. Anyway, what do you guys think about these stories, huh? Hey, any of our smart listeners out there, shed some light on this, please. Explanations for things that we've questioned in the episode. I like that. I like that we have smart people who listen to this show because Christian and I, let's be honest, we're a different level of genius, you know? And that level of genius is much lower on the totem pole than most, but we don't have to talk about that because it hurts our feelings, okay? We don't want that, and that's not fun for us.
I'm skeptical. I don't have feelings.
He's skeptical that he even has feelings.
True.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll catch you right back here next week where we're going to be getting into something I call Wild and Unexplained. And as well, at the end of that episode, I believe that's the episode that I have a bunch of like the kids jumping out of their bodies stories that I found, like similar to what you said you experienced when you were a child.
Oh, that's
like
called
jumping really
astral projection. I was like, what the hell are these kids doing?
No, I mean, like there's astral projection, but like this is like fluid, like super easy to do, almost like they didn't even know they were doing it type thing. And I just found story after story after story. So I'm pretty sure I tacked it on to the end of that episode. But we'll find out all that and more next week, next Thursday. You know the drill. In the meantime, folks, be sure to buy everything off the merch store. You really want to. And no, I have not been slipping in subliminal messages on the YouTube videos telling you to do that. That's your own desires, okay? That's your own thoughts and your own desires, and that's okay.
What's next Thursday? Oh, it's new episode day, as they call it on our Facebook page.
There you go. Yes. Shout out Teresa, always coming in clutch. And you can do so too by joining the Facebook group. Go to the Facebook page at Freaky Deaky Pod, click groups, and you guys, you know how to work a computer at this point. Actually, well, our audience, I'm not gonna, you know what? It's fine. I'm digging myself a hole here and I gotta get out. I gotta get out. And more importantly,
new episode day.
Okay.
Ned.
Wow.
I just made that up.
Worst title for anything ever. Hey guys, welcome to Ned. Wow.
He'll lose his head in episode 9.
What? I need to get out of here. There's multiple things going on. Number one, I have to pee like a racehorse. Number two, I have to get out of here. Okay. So we'll see you right back here next week. Follow us on social media at Freaky Deaky Pod, where all the good things happen in your life. And if you want a good life, then that's what you do. And it's not a cult, and I promise.
It's a cult.
Anyway, we'll see you later. Goodbye.
We have togas.
No, that's a personal choice, Christian. Okay.
Yeah. From the leader of our cult.